Hey guys, it's Kelly. I am a self proclaimed book nerd, a writer, and um, I don't know, just feeling a little down about this book.
Hey, y'all. My name is Ashley. I'm a writer, producer, and I'm indifferent. Hey, y'all, and welcome back to the Books We Should Have Read podcast, the show on a mission to get adults who typically aren't into reading through the exploration of Black literary classics. This pod is an extension to the BWSR community, and you can find our complete book list for this season at booksweshouldhaveread.com. Tune in each episode as we discuss what we liked and disliked about these reads and whether or not they're worth your time.
Ooh, okay. I like that you're indifferent about it. I'm just feeling down because I was very excited to read a book about two women being in relationship, a romance with two women being in relationship. And two Black women at that, right? And then the fact that it just did not resonate with me, it really upset me, actually. I was really bummed out. So
Yeah, you know what? Same. But in all honesty, I knew it was going to be a shit show when I made it to 200 pages and they didn't even get on a boat yet.
bro, okay.
And they were still trying to make the decision as to what they should do next. I was just like, oh, okay, this is one of those things that should have been left on the shelf. But I said I was indifferent because of that. And then also because I've heard such great things about Alyssa Cole that I did not base this novel. I didn't base her talent on this one novel, because we all have things that we put out into the world that we're not proud of. I have so many of them as a creative. And this is just one of them that I just was like, oh, okay, girl. It wasn't shitty, but it wasn't
it wasn't what I was expecting, especially because we've heard such great things about her. So I think what we should do is we try her again, but we're going to look for her highest rated book.
Yeah, let's do that. But
we're going to do her highest rated book.
Let's talk about what this book is about.
Yes.
Okay. So we read How to Find a Princess by Alyssa Cole. This is book 2 in the Runaway Royal series.
Yes, I believe it's the Runaway Royal series. And the good thing to specify, with Alyssa Cole's books and with a lot of romance authors, is you don't have to read a series in order. So with this book, we didn't read the first book in the series because you didn't have to, which I like about that. You can read them as standalones, which is what we did. So yeah. So if anybody's worried about oh wait, I have to read the first book and then you can just read it out of order.
Just choose one. And we chose this one because, like Kelly said, it is a queer love story featuring two Black women, and why wouldn't we want to fucking read it?
Yeah, because we're to be quite frank, I am sick of men. And I was like, you know what? Just give me two beautiful Black women at this point that are going to be happy in love.
Yeah.
I needed a break from men, both in real life and in romance novels.
You know, that's so funny because since we've been reading romance novels, I've fallen back in love with men.
Isn't it that? I mean, honestly, this is why I'm always going to be out here messing with dudes, because these romance novels get me hyped up in my brain, and I'm like, he is out there.
But men are men.
But men are men. Anyway, back to what we're doing. So
this book follows the life of Makita Hicks, who is from Atlantic City, New Jersey. We open the book and she's super timid. She doesn't stand up for herself. And then she finds herself in a rut because her life is falling apart. She loses her job, but she's the best employee, but she doesn't stand up for herself. So they fire her anyway. Her ex leaves her because she's too nice.
It's literally all in the same day, too.
All in the same day. Her life falls apart. But what's so interesting about Makita is that she is a supposed heir to a throne in the is it a fictitious country? I'm terrible at geography.
Okay, first of all, I will blame the American education system for that. I'm 100% sure it is a fictitious country. It's called, hold on.
Iberania?
Iberania. Yes,
I'm
it's
pretty
called
sure it doesn't
Iberania.
exist.
It does
But
not exist.
like
And
Kelly
then,
said, we grew up in America. So
so in this, like, we're gonna find out, like, somebody's gonna be like, I'm from Iberania. It is a real country. And we're like, sorry. But no, I'm like 99% sure it doesn't exist.
yeah. And so she's this heir to this throne. Her family has been obsessed with this pseudo heiressness her whole entire life, but she has a distaste for it because it essentially ruined her family, without giving too much away. Then she encounters Besnaria. I just say her last name is Chet. I always call her Chet because I can't pronounce.
Yeah, I cannot pronounce her last name. It's like Chet Chevalier.
Yeah.
Chet Chevalier.
But she meets Besnaria Chet, who is also, is she the star in book one? I believe she's a star in book one. But Besnaria is this, how would you describe Bez?
I would describe her as like a very alpha female. She's a junior investigator for the World Federation of Monarchists. And she's just like this alpha female. She kind of stays, she's alone. She's like a lone wolf, right? She doesn't have friends. She's a little awkward and odd in that she just says whatever she's thinking. She has no filter. She's a little nerdy, but she's also like super attractive because of course.
Of course. Oh, and she's neurodivergent, which I thought was super fucking cool. Did you not like that? You didn't like it. You don't seem
No,
excited.
I didn't mind it, but also having a blank, what does that mean again? What does neurodivergent mean?
Neurodivergent are people.
Is that like on the like is it on the
They could be. Autism is one. I am not a psychologist, y'all, but autism, yes, is considered to be neurodivergent.
It's like the spectrum, yeah, right?
Yeah, but I believe anxiety and depression is also considered to be neurodivergent. I could be making this shit up.
I'm looking it up as you speak. So it is deferring a mental or neurological function from what is considered typical or normal, frequently used with reference to autistic spectrum disorders, not neurotypical. Okay. All right, that's what I thought it was, but I was just like, when I was reading, I was too lazy to do what just took me 5 seconds to do just now.
The Googles, just to do the Googles. But yeah, and so they are an uncanny pairing. And we can get to, I'll just say it the fuck now, which I also didn't understand either, because it's like, okay, Makita, you don't stand up to yourself in all these other aspects, but then Bez, fine ass.
An amazing woman.
And you want to be mean to her?
And you want to treat her, because I have a soft spot for Bez, okay?
I love Bez.
This beautiful, just amazing woman comes into your life and you want to finally decide that this is the moment you're going to start treating people shitty?
And all these other niggas who been treating you shitty your whole entire fucking life?
Using you? How about we be mad at the woman you co-signed a loan for? A small business loan for? Because I was heated. I was like, I'm sorry, girl, you did what?
And this shit is messing up your credit and threatening your grandmother's livelihood, bitch. And she with this whole book and did not stand up to this bitch.
But Bez, who is nothing but a little angel on this here earth, trying to do her job, and you want to be. She was so mean to her. At that point, I was like, you know what, Bez, we
just come over here, Bez. It's fine.
That was like driving me crazy and it upset me because usually like I don't know, like my dislike for Makita was just strong. After I was like.
Because how dare you? How dare you? And like, what was it about? For me, it's like, what was it about Bez that said, oh yeah, this is the bitch who I'm about to be rude as fuck to? Like, yeah, what was it about her?
And she was nothing but kind and sweet and just so adorably awkward and kind of like, and just nerdy with her little smudged glasses. I love that detail. Her glasses are always smudged.
Always have fingerprints on them.
Always having fingerprints and just like... I just adored her.
What we didn't mention about Bez was that she is Iberanian born. And so she has an interesting connection to the heir as well. Her grandmother also worked for the World Federalist Monarchs.
Okay, did her grandma work for? I thought her grandmom was the Queen Aziz's private guard. I didn't think she worked for the World Federation Monarchists, because the World Federation Monarchists is just a group that investigates like royal
Oh, I
stuff.
thought she did. I thought that was all the same thing. So thank you for
No,
pointing that out.
yeah,
Okay.
so the grandmom was the Queen Azi. I'm sorry if I'm butchering these names, but the grandmom, her Bez's grandmom was her personal guard, and Bez's whole mission, or her whole goal, it's not even a part of her mission, it's her own separate goal, is to find the heir. And the reason is because the queen went missing under her grandmother's watch. And so there's been rumors and speculations for all these years that her grandmom either killed her or knows where the queen went and is not telling anybody. So, Bez has an ulterior motive, if we should say, but it's like an innocent one. You know what I'm saying? It's not an ulterior motive that's going to hurt Makita in any way. It's, hey, like,
It could help Makita and her family financially, which is what they need right now.
which is another reason I'm just not under.
And it could also help Bez
clear her family's name.
Yeah.
Her grandmother's name, I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like,
Bez was so dope. Okay, let's go to Grandmore. Grandmore was an interesting character. So Grandmore is Makita's grandmother.
and Aura Hicks.
Grandmore Hicks. And she's the one who so the reason why Makita and her mother could be potential heirs to the throne is because her grandmother believes that she had an affair back in the day with the long lost prince of Iberania. He came to Atlantic City, I guess, and they got busy.
Yes. Okay. And also, so just to make sure I was understanding this correctly, because from what I gathered was, so this long lost prince, what the story ended up being was that his mother was Queen Azi, and she like lost her memory. And you didn't read that part of the book? Because she lost her memory. Like, she lost her memory, and when she got her memories back, she just decided, I'm not going back to that life. She gave birth to the prince who Grandmore had the affair with, and he just told her, like, yeah, my mom is like a queen of this country, and she lost her memories and didn't come back.
That's crazy. I don't remember that part at all, but and I'm also going to the twist at the end.
Okay.
Which is how this is all. I mean, do you want me to say the twist?
Please do. Yeah, please do.
So, Besnaria's grandmother is the one who had the affair with the prince. So, Besnaria is actually the long lost heir. 390 fucking pages.
And we found that out on page 380. I didn't make it there, you guys. So if I seem a little
that
angry,
out on page like 387.
Y'all, if you guys can see my face, are we gonna start putting up the video for the? Because I'm
one of these days they're gonna get the video.
Pissed because you guys, it's a long book.
It's
all right,
long. I mean, it's short. Like
it's not. Actually, the book is 400 pages.
I mean, the book is small. It's like
it's small, but the writing is tiny.
Look at it.
No, but Ashley, you can't. All right, hold on, girl. I know you are not basing the size of the book off of.
I am, Kelly. This is a small book.
No, yeah, it's physically small, Ashley, but it's still 400 fucking pages.
Yeah, but it probably averages like 100 pages, 100 words a page. No, am I wrong?
You are so wrong. Do you see how many words are on that page that you're holding up?
Because you're looking at me like, bitch.
Dog. And I'm only saying that because you have a physical copy. I knew the shit was long when it's 400 pages on the Audible Kindle copy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like, okay, so this book is, this book is 388 pages. And
on Kindle it was 390.
We find out about Besnaria probably like at 384.
Well, you know what? It makes sense though because she's got this huge series for it, right? So it'll be like the next series will be Bez probably taking the next book will be Bez taking over the throne or something.
Girl, I won't know because I won't be reading it.
Oh, I'm definitely not reading it.
I'm done with the series.
Wow.
Okay,
so they put that whole part in there for nothing.
Yes.
I know.
I
I'm
was
sorry
just
to
like,
stop you. I'm
oops.
sorry. Because, okay, that whole little made up part, I know I didn't fever dream that.
I'm sure you did it. I probably like forgot about it because this book was so boring.
But now I'm pissed. I'm pissed at Alyssa. Alyssa, I'm mad at you now. I know you don't know me, but now I'm mad at you because why would you add that tidbit if you already knew that Bez was going to be the heir? You made me waste like a page of reading about that shit, and Bez is the heir.
But do you know what I will say? Okay, because I know I just said that this book was boring, but like, is it bad for these books to be boring? Like, it's about two beautiful Black women who fall in love despite their
It was very slow burn.
It was just a slow burn. Like,
yeah, it was a slow burn. And you know what it was too? It wasn't that it was boring. It was a slow burn, and it's okay. I'm okay with the romantic part being slow burn because, like, listen, you don't need to be, having sex with somebody within the first 10 pages. That doesn't need to happen.
Yeah.
I'm okay with romance being slow burn, but I just think that a lot of people felt that it was boring, and I felt it was boring because just like the getting to anything was slow burn.
Like 150 pages to decide whether or not, 200 pages to decide whether or not she was going to actually pursue being the heiress.
Yeah.
And then 150 pages of them on the boat playing cat and mouse. And then 50 pages of them actually recognizing that they're in love. And then 30 pages of them getting off the boat and Besnaria realizing that she is the heir to this throne.
Wow. That's what it is. You broke that down so good. That is exactly what happened. And also too, like, I don't want to say the writing wasn't bad.
No.
I want to say that. The writing wasn't bad at all. It was just very wordy. I just felt like there were just Alyssa Cole is very detailed, which is not a problem, but it was just so much detail.
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Next character. Do we want to talk about anyone else? I have Ashley Hicks.
Who's that? Oh, that's her mom.
Makita's mom. And I have
Henajetta. I can remember.
We already mentioned Henajetta, who is Besnaria's grandmother.
Grandmother.
I don't really want to talk about Ashley Hicks. I think we're done with characters.
Okay, cool. Like I had Prince Kashan.
Let's do Prince Kashan.
I have Makita's grandfather, in quotes now, Gramore's lover, in quotes now, and the lost heir to the Iberian throne. Because I didn't get to the last 6 pages, so I didn't realize the twist. So how did that play out, Ash? Could you just,
it was very, okay, spoiler alert, y'all. It was very much so like, we made it home. Henajetta has an attitude. Who is Bez's grandmother. She wasn't answering the phone and talking to Bez when she called home. They get off the boat. I believe there, Henajetta and Bez have a conversation, and that's when it's revealed. It was just very like anticlimactic. This whole book was anticlimactic to me.
So they didn't even go into detail about like how the prince ended up. So
they were in love. They were in love, and the queen knew about it. And
so why'd the queen just dip off? Where'd she go?
I can't remember. I honestly can't remember. And I don't really care to go back.
Yeah, no, I'm not making you go back. I'm not. I'm not gonna make you go back. Okay. All right, cool. All right, never mind. Is there something you want to advertise on Books We Should Have Read? Email us at info@booksweshouldhaveread.com. That's info@booksweshouldhaveread.com.
Do you want to say your point first, or you want me to go first?
Okay, I'll say my point.
Yes.
Because as you know, I have a soft spot for Bez. I just adored her. Okay. I just thought she was so sweet. Just this strong, like loyal, dedicated character, just amazing woman. And my favorite scene is it's early in the book. It's like chapter 6 or 7. And Makita is very Makita's been hurt, okay? Like you call it like she's timid. She's also just lacks the self-confidence because she's been mistreated by people who are supposed to love her, including her mother. And she's this that builds a trauma, you know what I mean? And so there's like this scene, it's so adorable. I'm pretty sure it's chapter 6, and Bez tells Makita that she's beautiful, or she said something like that, and Makita doesn't believe her, and Bez just immediately stops her and goes like, well, why don't you believe me? Because Bez is very frank. She's neurodivergent, so she's saying what she wants. She has no filter. And Makita kind of explains to her, well, when she was growing up, how bullied she was and how people made fun of her and teased her. And Bez straight up asks for their names.
Oh, God, Makita whispered again, this time in humiliation. Of course she busted her own lip while trying to be sexy and impulsive. It was better this way. She definitely should not be kissing this woman, and maybe some higher being was making that clear. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have. I'm sorry. Besnaria moved her lips back and forth, then shrugged. I'm fine. What about you? Are you hurt? She raised a hand towards Makita's face. Let me see. Makita jerked back, her hand-eye coordination suddenly spectacular. Why? So you can see how ridiculous I am with your new 4D vision? So you can laugh at my swollen lip? I'm fine. She dropped her gaze to the ground and stared at Besnaria's sock-clad feet, then sighed and lowered her hands. Besnaria didn't touch her face, but she knew the woman was examining her from a few feet away. Put some ice on it. Makita rolled her eyes. I know. She marched upstairs to finally take control of the situation, and somehow this was the result. Standing like a fool with a self-inflicted injury while replaying the moment she'd crashed mouth first into Besnaria over and over again. Who laughed at you? Besnaria asked quietly. Who made you think you were laughable? Makita didn't think she could be any more embarrassed, but now Besnaria felt sorry for her. It wasn't as if the taunts from the past suddenly filled her head, but the shame that she had felt then returned, as did the shame she felt never having moved past the bullying and having somehow invited it, at having supported her mother for all these years only to be asked if she was trying to spite her, at having tried to kiss the woman who'd brought all this back to the surface. It doesn't matter, Makita said, taking a few steps back and shoving her hands into her pockets. It does, Besnaria said, frowning. They've made my goals much more difficult to obtain. Of course, that's why she wanted to know. Her regret sharpened into a spike of humiliation. Thanks for your concern. Makita started to walk into her room. Hypothetically, Besnaria called out behind her, if I were hypothetically capable of grabbing someone off the street and engaging in certain activities that are legally gray but morally righteous, like explaining to someone how wrong they were to laugh at a young girl for thinking she might be a princess, having their names might make such a hypothetical task easier. Makita whirled around. Wait, are you telling me that leaving me alone is unreasonable, but tracking down my bullies over a decade later isn't? That's ridiculous. Yes, Besnaria said. She was still again, but not in anticipation as she had been a moment ago. This was the stillness of repressed motion. It's quite reasonable. I have a rubric, and it falls dead in the reason zone. There isn't a statute of limitations on making someone aware of their bad behavior. If it's still hurting you all these years later, why shouldn't they hurt a bit too? Makita's throat went rough. Her mother and even her grandmore made it seem like Makita should just move on, leave the past in the past. The fact that her mother thought she was trying to get revenge for said past had made her feel ill. Besnaria was here, ready to roll up on Tanya Smith from third period algebra, who probably didn't even remember Makita ever existed, and show her what's what, because she didn't think it was bad to make people pay for hurting you.
I thought like, she was like, what's their name? And Makita is like, it was like in 7th grade. So I'm just gonna not give you. But Bez was serious. Like, she was like, give me all of their names and their last known locations and I will find them. And she was like ready to find these people and make them apologize to her and admit that Makita is in fact beautiful. And I like that Bez sees not only Makita's outward beauty, but her inner beauty as well. Like, she is a good person, right? Like, there's nothing wrong with Makita. It's just she's more of a fixer and she only feels useful. Like, that's her love language, is service. If we talk about love languages, I think Makita's love language is service, is doing for the people that she loves and just always being there. And where people in her life thought it was annoying or just looked at it as a way to take advantage, Bez just saw that as, this is an amazing person who is so pure and so good inside. And I think that's also why, although I was getting frustrated with Makita, Bez was never frustrated with her, because Bez recognized that hurt that she had. I think that there's even in one chapter where Bez says that, like, you know, she could see like Makita's loneliness and it almost matched hers. She could see herself a little bit. And I thought that was so, and I was like, why can't we have more moments like this? Like, but I love that. That was like a point, like a part of the book that I just was like, oh my God, this is so like, I don't know. I just thought it was so pure and just so honest. And I just loved like that, to me, not that I care, but like, I just love that love just transcends whether it's a same-sex couple, a heterosexual couple, interracial. I just love that. I just love love because it transcends all that. All the bullshit. At the end of the day, it is just such a innate thing, and it like vibrates on a different level. It passes through all of that. And so that is one thing that like I really liked about this book. And I'm glad that, although, you know, this book was not my favorite, I'm glad that we have a book in this collection that is about a queer couple, a queer Black female couple.
Fine as hell. They fine.
Fine. Just two beautiful women in love. I really liked it. So that was a part of the book that stood out for me. What about you?
Oh my God. Okay. So we should just entitle this episode like Besnaria Fan Club, because
yes, this is what the episode is called.
Besnaria Fan Club.
This is the clip. Besnaria Fan Club.
Because I too was obsessed with Besnaria. And the point that really stood out to me that like made me bust out laughing was Besnaria's lie to get them on the boat, which wasn't a lie. It was like to get them on the boat. And I just thought it was just so funny. Okay, so let me back up. So
yes.
Finally, after 150 pages of going back and forth between Makita and Besnaria, Makita finally decides to pursue becoming the heir, or pursue finding out whether or not she is the heir to the Iberanian throne, of which Besnaria already knew this bitch was going to go. So she's making these plans behind Makita's back for them to make it to Iberania. And in order to get them to Iberania, they end up on a ship. How they got onto the ship is super interesting. I can back up further and say that Besnaria works for the the World
Federation of Monarchists.
Federation of Monarchists. And her boss, who would be the ones paying for their way back to Iberania, had not been answering the phone. And it's pretty much because Besnaria went AWOL to find Makita. And so she, in order to get them to Iberania in a way that won't necessarily break her own personal pockets, she comes up with this grand scheme to get them on the boat, and then does not tell Makita about the scheme before they get on the boat. They think I'm your wife? Makita whispered angrily. Yes, we've established that. Besnaria blinked. But I'm not. Makita bit out more quietly, unsure of how their voices might travel in the hall outside their cabin. It's a lie, and it puts me in an uncomfortable position because now I have to lie to support your original lie. It wasn't my lie. Not originally, Besnaria said. An old acquaintance in shipping heard I was looking for passage back and set me up with this job. I asked him if it was possible to bring a guest to share my cabin for free, and he said crew members are allowed to bring spouses. And you've lied and said you had one? Makita prompted. No, I said I will be bringing a guest since it's possible under those circumstances. Because if it's possible then, it's possible anytime, technically. Then he congratulated me on my marriage, and I said, thank you for your assistance with my journey back. Bez held up her hand when Makita started to protest. It was all done in the name of getting you to Iberania, which is what I promised you I would do. I can't believe you think that excuses all this, Makita said, flailing her hands to gesture at the cabin around them. I trusted you to handle things, but I didn't ask to be left out of the decision-making process or to have to lie. Bez nodded sagely. Consider this one aspect of the adventure. You are on a mission, and lying for work is fine, as we discussed. Besides, if you're taking this lost heir endeavor seriously, there will be more trying tasks than pretending to be married to me. Makita scuffed. Really? I can't think of any. Were there really no other options to pay for room and board? Having to shovel coal in the engine room would have been preferable. It's the 21st century, Bez said dryly. Ships don't use coal. Yes, it's the 21st century, which is why we should be on a plane right now. Makita realized something that would have occurred to her earlier if she hadn't been so overwhelmed by the sheer improbability of the situation she was in. Wait. We're doing this so I can ride for free? Why didn't your monarchist bosses pay for our travel? Bez's expression didn't change drastically, but for the first time since they met, she dropped her gaze instead of holding it until Makita blinked or looked away. There have been some communications issues, as well as a matter of budget restraints. Great. So I'm stuck playing your wife because you work for cheapskates. Makita was trying not to raise her voice, but she was a planner, and every assumption she'd made about the way things would work out had been based on a foundation that, at the very least, the World Federation of Monarchists was a legit organization that would spring for an economy flight. Bez lifted her chin, as if she was the one who had reason to be upset. Do you know how many times I've been cascaded for not making someone my wife? And here you've achieved it after only having to tolerate me for a few days. You should be happy. Makita just stared at Besnaria for a moment, old shame rising to meet new anger. How many times has she accepted scraps while telling herself asking for more was being greedy? You know what would have made me happy? If you told me what was going on so we could come up with a plan together. Instead, you put me in this ridiculous situation and expect me to be grateful? You owe me an apology, at the very least. Makita stared at Bez, her heartbeat sounding in her ears. She never flat out told someone to say they were sorry, and she felt slightly ill. I did what needed to be done for us to get to Iberania, which is my job, Bez replied stiffly. The alternative was hiding you in my duffel bag and sneaking you on board. I'd say that you owe me an apology for not appreciating my hard work. I love Besnaria so much because she's so matter of fact. Like, this bitch is honestly like, I didn't lie. Like, I told them that I asked him how we could get on this boat. And he said that I could get on the boat and that only a spouse could come on the boat.
Yeah, so now we're married.
And she was just like, okay. That's all she said to the man.
That and that's my thing I love about it is just like, I didn't lie, but you didn't ask any follow-up questions.
So I didn't bother.
Technically, you didn't do your job.
Like, what did I do wrong? And so they get on this boat, and it isn't until they get on the boat that Makita finds out that they're supposed to be pretending to be married.
Yep.
And then, but that pretending to be married really shows.
I love that trope. I love marriages of convenience, fake pretend marriages. Romance novels love. Fake relationships. Romance novels love
fake
that
relationship. And it works. It worked. This was the only reason why I was holding on, because I was just like, okay, them pretending to be in love is eventually going to like melt Makita's heart, right? It's eventually going to unthaw this cold ass bitch, and she's eventually going to see what we see in Besnaria and get her shit together.
You're pretending to be married. You're on a boat at sea. This is the only other person you know. You gotta fall in love.
Cool. So that was my point.
I really like that. Honestly, like I did Biznaria. This is the Biznaria fan club because she was everything. She to me carried that book. Like I really only kept going back to read because I was like, well, I just want some good things for Bez.
Yeah, I just want her to be happy. And honestly, the fact that her and Makita do end up together, I didn't like because Besnaria deserves better.
Biznaria deserves somebody that will worship the ground she walks on
And not
appreciate
test her.
and also just appreciate her quirkiness and her love, like her love and her loyalty.
Yes, like she doesn't have that filter where she has to like sugarcoat shit. Like she's very much so in your face. What you see is what you get, and we need more people like that in this world. And like the fact that this woman does not see that, like, just bothers me. Because if you don't want to send her over here, okay? Like, gosh, Makita was just so annoying.
It's just, yeah, like Makita was just very, but you know, I think that was the point, right? Because it makes you, and maybe that was Alyssa's, maybe that was her evil genius thinking, right? Was just like for people that have somebody in their life, maybe take a step back and think about what they do for you and do you appreciate them enough? Are you a Makita in the relationship or are you a Besnaria?
Oh, girl, because if you a Makita in the relationship, I gotta... Someone who has so much grace, extends so much grace to everyone else in their life except for the person that holds you down.
Oh, how make it make sense?
Make it make sense, Kelly.
Let me tell you something. If that was me, if like my person, like I do all this and I see that, and I see my person being kind to others and not to me, I gotta burn all your shit down because I'm crazy. But I gotta just destroy you.
She's a Gemini.
Because you gonna hurt my feelings. Like I'm gonna be sad. I'm gonna be crying while I burn all your shit down. It's gonna be very waiting to exhale when Angela Bassett's throwing her man's shit in his car and lights it on fire.
Get your shit and get out.
Yes, like that is me. That is me. Like I'm so hurt, but I'm gonna destroy everything. And
I'm the opposite. I'm so hurt. And I will disappear and you will never hear from me again. And you will always wonder what happened to her. Because I will block you on everything. I will disappear. I will leave you straight.
Honestly, that's probably the better way of doing things. Because my way is I'm probably going to go to jail now because I did all this shit. Well, now I'm in jail.
My way
now
would
my
end,
dad's bailing me out.
Yeah, my way would end with a missing persons report probably because they'll be like, "What? She just vanished off the face of the planet." Exactly.
And I'll be the first one like, "Hold on, let me call." We got to track our iPhones on each other's thing. It's fine. Ashley, come on. She in the woods, y'all. She built a little hut, a little tiny house in the woods.
Just to spite the person who hurt me. They would never see me ever again. That's how I am. That's how I am. Because I give so much. Like I'm such a nurturer and I take care of people.
Is that your love language? What is your, let's talk love languages. Because I was on that side of TikTok as well. You guys, just to let our listeners know, you guys, I am obsessed with TikTok.
I love me some TikTok. I'm not quite as obsessed. But my love language is acts of service and gifts.
Mine's are gifts and and not overt, like not anything crazy, but just like little things. Like if I see something, like I was always buying like anybody stuff. Like if I see it, and it'll be something small. Like I'm not talking like these crazy extravagant gifts, but little things that like make people, like that if I see it, I think of you. Now I got to get it for you.
See, my gifts are very intentional. So like I respond well to someone acts of service. If you know that if I'm saying, oh, I'm so stressed out, I keep forgetting to eat, sign me up for like a meal plan thing where my meals get sent to me.
Or Venmo me money for lunch.
Or make me lunch.
Oh.
And it's the same. They go hand in hand for me. The gifts too. It's just like, oh, I keep burning the rice on the stove. Bitch, I'm gonna buy you this rice cooker. Here's this rice cooker.
Here's a rice cooker. Yes, I'm very much a gifts is my love language, and it's like, but I always worry about that being my love language because you have to be careful with that because people will take advantage, right? People can try and take advantage like that, but that's why it's not. I'm not buying you something super crazy extravagant, and we just we're just getting to know each other. We just started dating, but like little things.
Oh my God, Kelly, I dated this person a few years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and they would buy me the wackest shit ever in life.
Oh.
And that pissed me off because it's just like, you are not
don't know
listening to
me.
me. You don't know me. You're not intentional. You just do things for the sake of doing things.
Yep.
And I had to let that one go. But there was one time in particular where they had like, oh, fuck. I don't want to say it. Never mind. Because they could be listening. Do you want to know? I'll tell you.
Honestly, Ashley, let's not hold ourselves back. Go hard. Tell me.
Okay. So there's this one time when they had like this coworker, and they would tell this coworker like all of our business. And then like
I
they would
remember this person you
Yes.
dated.
And
At
then they would
first,
tell me about it. Yes. And then they would and then they so this coworker, I guess, had this like pair of shoes that they were getting rid of. And they send me a picture
No.
of these pair of shoes,
No.
Kelly. And I was just
This
like,
is why you didn't tell me this, because you know that is my nightmare. You were not giving me nobody's shoes.
Kelly, I was so like, it's like weird, like, because I was mortified. Because I was just like, how am I with this person who,
That
first of all, thinks
some
that these
used-
shoes are cute, and secondly, would think that I would wear something like that. And then they asked me for my shoe size. And I was just like, yeah, I'm a such and such. And they were just like, oh, your feet are too big for them anyway. Because I told them that I didn't, because they knew I didn't like them.
I remember when you were dating this person, and I was like, why are you with them?
Why am I dating? And I was trying to figure it out because I had known this person for like years. And
yeah,
like,
you'd known them, yeah.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh, okay, I'm getting to know this person. But honest to God, they were not who they portrayed to be. For the decade that I knew them, they were a completely different person.
Yeah.
Like I thought they were a reader.
Remember when they dressed like you? They were dressing like
They
you?
started dressing like me.
I was like, when you told me that, I was like, girl, get out. Red flag, red flag, red flag.
And I was just like, why? And then they were so pressed to meet my kid.
Oh. I'm like the opposite. I'm
I
like,
know.
you don't ever have to introduce me to
I was
your
just
child.
like, why? Like, why? They just wanted to be a part of my existence so much. And
Yeah,
I
that was
realized
weird.
it's because people think they know me, but then when they really sit down and they think about it, they know that they know nothing about me because I'm extremely private.
Yes.
And they just yearn to be that person to break in.
They want to be the one that says that I know Ashley the best. Like, I got to know
I got her. She's mine.
Well, back up, everybody, because I know her the best, okay? I've known her since we were 7.
That was that
So
person.
funny. That was that person. Yeah, I don't know, like, definitely, I think, and the other thing I think is wrong with my love language of gifts is that I think that it can intimidate men that are not
Secure.
secure, yes. Like,
She
I've
can take care of
noticed that.
herself.
Yeah, I've noticed that is just like it can really intimidate men that are like, and because I'm so independent.
Because you work hard. And I'm not saying that you deserve nice things because you work hard, but the very nice things that you buy yourself is because you were afforded the resources to do so.
Exactly. And it's like, and also, what is me buying these nice things for myself? What does that have to do with you? I didn't ask you to buy me those things.
Ugh.
But it's like they get in their own head about like, well, if she buys these shoes and these bags, she's gonna want me to buy them.
Now you're a gold digger.
Now I'm the gold digger, and I never asked for that. It's just like, listen, man, I don't know.
If you do not appreciate luxury, you cannot date Kelly. And that's on the period. I said appreciate. I didn't say
Just
afford.
appreciate. I don't not afford, but Aldous Hodge, if you're listening to this, you are very welcome to slide in my DMs.
Wait, do you hear that? That silence could be filled with an advertisement for your new product or brand. Email us at info@booksweshouldhaveread.com if you'd like to be a sponsor for and have your ad placed within the Books We Should Have Read podcast. We can't wait to welcome you to the family.
Okay, so back to the Besnari's fan club.
Right, Besnari's fan club. I'm actually pulling out my reading because I can't remember what I gave this book.
So I did, I'm pulling up mine too. I did rate it, but I didn't rate it. I'm sorry. I left a review, but I did not finish it because like I said in the last episode, or like I said in our episode where we did Life After Death, typically when I do not finish a book, I never give it a rating, but if I'm feeling like it, I'll leave a review as to why I didn't finish it. And for this book, my review was, let's see, it was pretty straight to the point, I'll be honest. I said this. Okay, so I said this was did not finish for me, so no rating. This is my first read by Alyssa Cole, and I struggled. This was so boring and so long, I couldn't do it. And it just fell flat. It was just, I said I needed more, and this fell flat.
Yeah.
So that was my.
Okay, I gave it 2 stars.
Okay.
I finished it, gave it 2 stars. And I'm just going to read the last sentence of my review because if you guys want to actually know all about this review, you can go find it on my Goodreads page. But I said 2 stars because it wasn't terrible, just hella boring. And that's genuinely this book. Like it's not a bad book at all. And it's cute. And Besnaria is seriously the highlight. And like, she's the reason why I kept reading.
She's the diamond in the rough for me in this book. Yeah. And like, it just fell flat though. Like if we didn't have a character like Bez, I really just, I think I made it the 240 pages out of the 380 or whatever. I made it that far because of Bez. Mm-hmm. And then look, couldn't even finish it. Couldn't even find out the plot twist.
You're just like, girl, okay. It's fine. There's no real twist though, Kelly. It was literally like 3 pages. I'm not even bullshitting.
And honestly, it's good that you told me that because I probably would have called you like so pissed. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's literally the last, like, I'm not kidding, 5 pages of the book goes into this.
Well, we've already made the plan. Because we are not giving up on our good sis Alyssa. Just because this book didn't resonate with us doesn't mean that her other book, she has like so many books. So the goal is we're going to find the highest rated book out of her collections. And we're going to give that a read.
Yeah. So we'll be back to Alyssa.
We'll be back. Because you know what? We stick together.
Yes.
And just because this wasn't our cup of tea doesn't mean it won't be yours.
Yeah. And if you guys have any favorite Alyssa Cole books, let us know. And we'll check them out.
Because we really want to, dive into her collections more and we want to support her. So, and who knows, maybe I'll go back and finish reading it because I often do that. Like maybe I'll go back and finish it and see what happens.
It's also okay if you don't. All right, bye guys.
All right, guys. We will talk to you next time. See ya.
Hey guys, don't forget to like, review, and subscribe to Books We Should Have Read. And don't forget to leave suggestions for books you would like us to read for future collections. This podcast is a Books We Should Have Read production with sound engineering and editing by About Right Media. The dope-ass track you hear in the background was produced by Ty.2. That's Ty, T-Y, .2WO on Instagram. Hey Ty! Follow Books We Should Have Read on Instagram at Books We Should Have Read to stay up to date with all the BWSR happenings. Follow Ashley at BashWiser on Instagram and me at Kelly Likes to Read on Instagram. If you like what you heard and you want to support this Black woman-owned and operated movement financially, there is an Anchor link in the show notes where you can do just that. Any and everything is welcome and appreciated. Thanks for listening. Until next time, bye y'all.